Welcome, thank you for joining. I'm Candace Lowe. This is how to caboodle your company's content. A little background on me, this is my 27th year in the car business. I spent 13 years selling cars, BDC, lease, fleet, retail for, I won't even go down the list of manufacturers. And then I spent 12 years consulting for Nissan on the, what is it called now, Insera? It was Cobalt when I started. They've gone through a couple of changes. And now I'm at Pure Cars, very thankfully so. So today we're going to learn about how to organize and structure your company's social media content. And how this came about was, I was just telling Robin, I had kind of a unique flavor to the way I consulted. And I really wanted to empower other women to embrace the role that they'd been handed. Because how many times I'd walked into a dealership and it was the owner's daughter or somebody's cousin or something that was taking over social media or e-commerce or digital marketing and had no plan, because I was that person. I was that person that was given no plan. Here's the BDC and the internet department of figure it out, like make it work and make it successful. So that's what I started doing, was trying to make those women successful. So where I really found my jam was getting into social media content and getting into organization and structuring for success through that. So that's how this came about. And then with a great deal of help from my friend Joe Webb, he helped me organize it a lot better. So much like a caboodle, we're going to organize the way our agenda is set up into 6 different sections. And then we're going to have some trivia, which is some fabulous prizes from Pure Cars. And then we'll go to closeout. So who had a caboodle? Anybody have a caboodle? Anybody my age? Oh my gosh, I love that there's so many people in my age group. You still have one? It's the same one, yeah. Those things last forever. So you steal your sisters? I love that. That's awesome. So I had a caboodle because my makeup desk looked like this. And my actual desk looked like this now. But when I had my makeup table that was completely a mess, it reminded me of all those women that I was trying to help organize and structure the way they're organizing their content. So when we have the mess that we're looking at, we're trying to figure out what eyeliner, we're trying to figure out what to post in our content, the organization and the structure of that becomes very vital to the success of it. So if you had, there it is. So if you had the pink caboodle, like everybody, I think that was the first color, you can thank Vanna White for that. Vanna White actually had a picture taken of her in a documentary behind the scenes. The Plano molding company who made the tackle box that she was organizing her makeup in saw the picture, contacted her and said, how do we relaunch this for the beauty industry? And that was the caboodle they launched. And that sold 2 million units in the first 2 years. So you can thank Vanna White for your caboodle. So as we're in learning mode now, now we're going to get even deeper into learning about our, oh, this clicker sucks. So now we're going to get even deeper into learning about who we're actually making content for. Oh, of course, and it jumped ahead like 3 slides. There we go. So we're making content. If we're new into a store, we don't really know who is in our store, right? We're the new digital marketing director. We're trying to figure out decisions to make, who to market to, who's there, who's buying cars. So we can go to a couple different places. I mean, you can look at the census.gov, you can look at the Chamber of Commerce, the city websites. There's tons of data out there, who the demographic is, who's living there, all those different information. But you know where the real gold mine of data is? It's in the DMS for the dealership. It really is. But you have to compare that, you have to combine that with a CDP, a clean data platform, to make that data efficient for what you need to use it for to market properly. So if you don't know what a clean data platform is, talk to me afterwards, because I'm not here to pitch that. So wow, this clicks really fast. Another thing you need to figure out is what is the key differential for your store, your brand, and your community. So you can ask some basic questions to get this information, not only of the community itself at large on your social media pages, but your employees. Your employees are great kind of subject matter experts with regards to what's going on in the community, what's important to the consumer, who's buying the cars, why they're buying the cars. And I actually put, I'm going to touch it once. Ask your employees these questions. Hey, what's your favorite thing about working here? Why did you start working here? And Does that still resonate today? Is that still a reason that you stay here? Just some key basic questions. What makes you proud to be a part of this team? That can actually really give you key insights as to what is valued to them, what you can create content around that actually motivates people to connect with you on social media. So the next thing you need to figure out is who are your main characters in your store. Every store has that salesperson, that business office employee, someone who has a larger than life enthusiasm and a personality that is made for social media. You need to figure out who that is. You can ask managers who that is. You can ask the general manager who hired them. You can ask those questions of the other employees there to make sure and find out the right person that can convey well on your social media. Because there's a lot of times where I've seen people who are shy wallflowers trying to do social media content, and I'm really pushing them out of their comfort zone to come out of their shell. And it works a lot better if you have big personality to start with, and then have the shy introvert watch the big personality, and then have them mimic that, and then you can bring someone along yourself. I'm all about bringing people up behind me. So the ones that I follow, this is a question I get all the time. Who do I follow? And I'll actually click some of these. So I follow these particular ones. I follow a lot more, but the slide was only so big. So I follow Valley High Toyota. My good friend Brian Ortega actually runs the marketing there. He is fantastic at content creation. He creates, some of the stuff he creates, he's done a zombie one for Halloween, like this for 7 years. He did one for spring training that he wore this long wig that was ridiculous. It was awesome. He's done so much great content, and he has the followers to prove it. That's his TikTok account right there. He's got 1.3 million likes on his account right now. For Casa Auto Group, they do really well. Mike Marufo does the digital marketing there. He embraces challenges. He actually researches hashtags and then does those specific challenges. So I think I can play a couple ones. It was acting weird a minute ago. So for this one, you can't really hear it. Oh, sorry, you can't really hear it. Anyway, so what that was a challenge where someone sliced open a coconut and then so that's the Instagram one that got, I think, 200 or something like that. The TikTok one got 1.2 million views. So repurposing the content is a key thing for this too. I'll get into that in a minute. I'm jumping ahead. Supercar Blondie, if you don't follow her, I highly recommend following her. Yeah, she does the big ticket cars. She does the 500,000, 1.2 million cars. She does fantastic content and videos, the most professional production value on her videos I've ever seen. So, and Mopar Brody, he's very colorful. I'll just warn you ahead of time. Sometimes he's highly inappropriate, but he is always funny. And you can't deny where he's at with his engagement. 5.8 million likes. You can't deny that at all. He's a salesperson. I think he just turned like 32, and he has an incredible following, and he works at this little remote dealer in Indiana that's across the street from a cornfield. It's a destination store, and he's their top salesperson every month. 90% of it is because of his following on social media. I knew someone was going to ask me that. I have it on my phone. I have it on my phone. I'll bring it. I'll look it up later. I'm sorry, I don't know that. Another one I like to follow is customer states as far as hashtags. The reason being is because these are hysterical. I've seen cars with the hoods opened up that are piled full of acorns. I've seen cars with the muffler, water pouring out of the muffler in the back. Customer states they're having a slight vibration in their engine. You won't be able to hear this, but I'll show it to you. This is hysterical. Customer states a slight vibration in the engine. Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem, right? So I'll get into some of the key kind of tips and tricks for that too. But the customer states ones are one of my favorites because the ridiculous people come in, things that people bring their car in and come and say. One was customer states they had a blue light on their dash, and the mechanic literally went and turned off the brights, and then did a big check on the RO and said, corrected. The other one is the car unwrapping. That's actually getting a lot of steam right now, the ASMR. So taking the packing material off of the cars and filming that's actually getting a lot of traction right now. So if you have an opportunity to see those new vehicles come off the truck and film that, I would highly recommend that. Now it's going to jump ahead like 2. Whoops. Was he? I love those. The ASMR are just fantastic. Is it Lawrenceburg? Okay, there she is. ASMR, autosensory meridian response. So we all have a response to something that's satisfying we watch. You know, you have a cup of beer that's about to, the foam is about to go over and you just slide it off. There's like a dopamine rush when we get it. The same thing when you're unwrapping something, or those videos where something's going through like a sieve, a strainer, and it's just a very like a dopamine rush. So it's called ASMR, and there's a whole hashtag like community around the ASMR. Careful Googling that because you'll come up with some weird stuff. So just gonna warn you. Okay, so where should my content? I heard. Rumor has it. Okay, so where should I post? So this is the next question I get is where should I post? Well, it depends on who you're targeting. So for our baby boomers, we're going to go with Meta and we're going to go with YouTube. That's pretty much where the majority of our baby boomers are posting, engaging, and sharing content. So we talk about Generation X. That's Generation X right here. All right, Generation X. We're in Meta. We're on YouTube. That's where they're stating are. I disagree with Pinterest. I think it's TikTok. That's where I think, because that's where I see a lot of my Gen X people. I did too. So when I saw this, I was like, who's on Pinterest? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Need to find out a way to redecorate my bathroom. Yeah. So millennials, are you seeing a pattern here? Meta, YouTube, Meta, YouTube, Meta, YouTube. Now we're getting into TikTok. Again, I think TikTok should be in Gen X, frankly. So Gen Z, which is our most up and coming, the generation with buying power, didn't get any generations past that. We're still in Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So those are the 3 I concentrated on for the remainder of this, because honestly, you could make probably a couple of presentations with all the different platforms there are right now, Snapchat, Reddit, anything else like that. So now we know kind of where we're going to target. We know we're going to target YouTube, Meta, and probably TikTok. You can be everywhere. You don't have to pick this one. The other thing you need to decide is you have to be able to manage this. So you don't want to be 20 different places and platforms if you can't manage that. Manage it means looking at the impressions, looking at the follower growth, engaging with the comments, looking at the reviews, responding to everybody. If you can't do that, then don't be there. So that's why I picked 3, and because everyone, that's pretty decently easy to manage. So what are the benefits of TikTok? So TikTok has a massive reach. We all know that, right? The opportunity to go viral, the opportunity to follow trends, the opportunity to engage with user-generated content. That's all really good for kind of first generated creation points, content creation points. Come on. And then we go to Facebook. Everybody knows Facebook. My dog has a Facebook account. Like everybody has a Facebook account. Baby Velociraptor, that's my dog. So tons of community building here. The thing I would talk about Facebook is if you're not a part of Facebook groups on here, I would highly recommend being a part of Facebook groups. If you are working at a Chevy store, I would go on to every Ford forum right now and see what they're talking about. If I were part of a Rivian dealership or a Tesla dealership, I would go on every EV Facebook group I possibly can, because there's going to be people in there talking about their problems with their cars. And you can be the subject matter expert to come to their rescue, to give them solutions, to help them find what they need to find. Because establishing yourself as a subject matter expert, that's the whole focus. Meta, we have the opportunity to use short form video here in, I think, in a more diverse way than Facebook videos. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I don't think they have as much of a reach as the Instagram Reels do. So I would highly recommend embracing short form video. Short form video is anything under 3 minutes, in case anybody here didn't want to know and didn't want to ask. And that's probably where you're going to get the most engagement, is when you keep your videos under 3 minutes. YouTube has a huge amount of brand awareness potential there. if you have evergreen content, who knows what evergreen content is? What's evergreen content? Both you can answer in tandem. How's that? Correct. Why should I buy from your store? Yeah, exactly. As opposed to targeted marketing, we're talking about, hey, it's Memorial Day, you should come buy a car because it's a really good sale, whatever. So the evergreen content, this is a great place for that to live and breathe, and then repurposing it from your YouTube account. It's a great way to kind of keep that content rolling, keep that content consistent. So the key thing in this whole presentation that Joe Webb had to actually remind me to include is, where are women in viewing content? Because we've heard that how many times now? What's the percentage of women that were involved in the vehicle purchase decision? 80%. I think we heard 85 in one. I've seen as high as 97. So that's where we need to be present. So YouTube is 80% of all adult women are looking to YouTube for search results, looking to YouTube for opinions, looking to YouTube for information. And then Facebook, and of course our Meta goes from there. Again, whoops, I timed out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anytime. Yeah. And you can cut it up from there too. Exactly. She was saying she keeps her content in there consistently, and you can pull your content out of there and chop it up too. So if you have a 10-minute video that you have to, that's just, I want to push this 10-minute video out, you can take content from YouTube, cut it up and put it out, push it to your different platforms in the short form video. So it's a great place to have your content live and breathe, so you're not breaking your Google Drive like I do. So now we learned a little bit, right? So now we need to make some decisions. Biggest decision we're going to have to make: who is going to do all this? You can't say just me. You have to have a team. You have to have your key players. You have to have your stars for your video. You have to have people to back you up. Do you have a budget? I said, what is your budget? But some people, you have a budget and some people don't. Some people, the GM will come to you and go, yeah, you don't have a budget. Other ones will be like, oh, I'll give you $250 and do what you can with that. How are you going to engage your female audience? We already talked about that. Which platforms we're going to use, and when do we know we're actually doing it right? When do we actually get a chance to see, okay, I'm going to see some results here. All right, I see I'm doing a good job. The first thing I'll actually, and not enough people do this, is scheduling your posts out. You're going to have to make some hard decisions about when to do this, because this is not going to be your biggest time suck. You have to make sure you're utilizing, these are the schedule post features in Facebook and in YouTube. The schedule post is going to be your best friend, because you're probably going to have one day a week to schedule out your post, and then the rest of the week I'm going to give you what you're going to do the rest of the week. But this is where you're going to live and breathe, because you have to allow time to plan and edit. Edit will be your biggest time suck. I'll just dispel that myth right now. Editing is absolutely the rabbit hole that we all go down. So I actually put together very quickly on a spreadsheet, because I love a good spreadsheet, what an average week would look like, what an average week 2 would look like. And we always have to plan what are we gonna post? What is this week gonna be out? What is it, or be about? What is this week going to, what is my message this week? What is my strategy this week? Now we're coming to Memorial Day, so that should be pretty easy. But I should have my Memorial Day scheduled 2 weeks ago. I should have that all planned out. This week should be about what I'm going to do in June. So this is how far out you're planning this. You definitely want to get your stars together. You definitely want to write out a script. You definitely want to run through it, make sure everybody knows their places, make sure the car didn't get sold that you're trying to walk around, or the tools that you're going to use are there and in place. And then filming is going to take a full day. If you're going on location somewhere other than the store, I would absolutely recommend that you go scout that out beforehand, the week before, and then go back and film it. Editing and then posting, and then I'm planning out for next week and I'm reviewing metrics. So that's what an average week would look like. And I very, very strongly suggest, in addition to your planning, to create yourself a content calendar. What am I going to post on Memorial Day itself? What am I going to post in June? What am I going to post before July 4th? Those are all really important things that you need to plan for. So These are also some of the tools that I've actually asked around and gotten tons of insight from people. These are the tools that they use. CapCut was #1 choice on video editing. That's everybody's favorite, it seems like. For images, unsplash.com and I love IMG. Those are the two that I kept getting feedback time and time again. Those are the ones they love. For your AI tools, Flicky was actually the #1 choice. I never heard of that one before. So these are also decisions you have to make, is which of these tools you're going to use. They're not going to be the same ones for everybody. What works for you may not necessarily work for you. So pick the ones that work best. And I put in obscure holidays because that is going to be your filler. So you're going to have your Memorial Day, you're going to have your sales event, you're going to have your employee stories, you're going to have all the different content you're going to fill, and you're going to have filler. You're going to have some gaps in that you're going to have to fill in. Go into the obscure holidays and look up what's coming up. There are some great ones. There's National Wear Two Different Colored Shoes Day coming up. Now wheels start turning. I'm going to have all my salesmen come in with $2 different shoes. Anybody who comes into my dealership with 2 different colored shoes on gets 10% off in service. You can just go from there. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. That's another one. That's an easy one, right? You can cater in chocolate chip cookies and give everybody gift certificates. I had a little store in St. George whose social media was nowhere. And they asked me for social media content ideas. So I literally sat there on my phone while he's talking to me about his struggles with social media. And I said, hey, tomorrow's National Cheese Ball Day. And he's like, what? Why do I care what Cheese Ball Day? What are you talking about? Go get a porter to go over to the store and buy like 50 canisters of cheese balls. And he's looking at me, he goes like, is this a dare or something? Like, what, are you going to eat these? Like, what's happening? So we actually made a post on social media that said the first 50 people in the service drive tomorrow morning get a can of cheese balls. Their service drive was backed out to the road for whatever. I don't want to say it was all the cheese balls, but it was a little bit of cheese balls. They do that every year now. They do National Cheese Ball Day. And they got calls on it. Hey, you guys got cheese balls over there? You give them cheese balls? So just those little things that generate the interest, that generate the community. Those are what you're looking for. And I don't want you to be afraid of AI. AI is your friend. Yes?
On that topic, Monday is National Rescue Dog Day. So I work with Subaru dealership.
Subaru loves dogs.
So you're doing something like get a picture with your dog in a car, stuff like little stuff like that. People love their dog and they love their children.
Yes. You know what's a great one I saw great traffic with is instead of having an employee appreciation day, have employee pet appreciation day and have your employees post pictures of them with their pets. And then you have your followers vote on the best picture. And then that person, I think one dealership gave them a sun visor. Another dealership I worked with gave them a free oil change. If you picked the favorite pet or whatever it was, kind of a thing. So just little ideas. Yeah. If you have dogs in there, or pets, anyway, someone posted a picture of a snake and everybody like, oh, that snake is super cool. I wouldn't have thought a snake would have gotten that much love, but it did. It got a ton of love. So people love pets. So that's a great one. So that's why we replaced the employees with the pets, because the employee appreciation day wasn't getting enough traffic. So once we added pets to the mix, it actually got a ton of traffic. So AI is your friend. I will caution you with AI to be specific. So I think it was June 11th, I think it was National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So I asked Gemini, give me a picture of a pirate. It was a dumb picture, like I didn't want to use it. So I said, okay, give me a picture of Johnny Depp as a pirate. And then I said, okay, give me a picture of Jeffrey Rush, who's that guy, and Johnny Depp as a pirate. And that's what I got. So ask it multiple times. Don't just ask once and think that's your result. Test it out. Send it to a friend saying, hey, I'm trying to post something for Talk Like a Pirate Day. Does this look like a pirate to you? I mean, ask friends. There's tons of friends here. Make friends here and ask someone here, hey, can I test stuff out?
That's really helpful. When you do your prompt, you can say something like, hey, I'm a pirate. What would I say to customers coming in to buy a car? Or like, do this, is it as if
Awesome.
I'm a pirate? Or, do it from the perspective of a customer, or do it from the perspective of, so you can make it like that voice.
Yeah.
And it will write it. Like some people as a joke did, oh, I'm, like write this as if I'm Dr. Seuss.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You can do that and it will do it within that,
I had one, so when I worked at Nissan, they did the Rogue One, and they did the movie The Rogue One, and the Rogue, the vehicle, and they did a whole huge thing around this. I only had one dealership that really embraced the whole Star Wars thing, and they embraced it starting on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, Revenge of the Sith, Revenge of the Six. They did all that whole month in May. All of them had name tags for their favorite Star Wars character. So Princess Amidala, the person who was answering the phone was answering it like Yoda or Darth Vader. I mean, it was just a whole thing. And they really embraced it and got a ton of traffic. Little dealership out in Roswell, New Mexico. Ton of traffic over it. Trademarks. Yes, there can be. So just be cautious of using images. So this image there, Creative Commons. Creative Commons is a great place to find royalty-free images that they've released to be used. So if I had a video of them talking, yeah, that would be in violation of that, whatever the copyrights. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. Creative Commons. Yeah, that's a really good one as well. So that I didn't have up there. I don't think so. But the last thing you want for your AI tool is to go, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. So now we're going to jump into, if my clicker works. Robin, where should I be pointing at? Oh, there we go. So now we're going to, now we learned a little bit and we're going to organize a little bit. Now we're going to learn about how I organize the content. So everybody who's heard the 80-20, 90-10-10, or 90-10, or that's how you should do all your content. I have a different rule. I have 20-by-5. And this has actually worked really well for me for my stores. So how I organize that is 20% of my content is going to be about my company. Why should you buy from me? The value propositions, sharing the employee stories, the milestones of the store. There's a huge store going up in Queen Creek in Arizona. It's a Chevy store. They have a Chevy store. It's in a very not great part of town. So they're building this brand new, beautiful Chevy store. They have 0 video and 0 pictures of the new Chevy store. So my first question is, excuse me, this is a major milestone. That's a lot of money being spent in the Queen Creek area. That's a neighborhood that's up and coming that needs jobs. This is a great opportunity for you to kind of embrace, hey, look at what we're bringing to the community. Look at what's happening. This is exciting, that kind of stuff. So all those different milestones that you can create engaging stories around really are vital for getting that engagement you're looking at. 20% of it should be about your customers. Now you can do street interviews. You can ask these questions to people out in the community. We have First Fridays. I think everybody has some kind of First Friday thing. So if you have First Fridays, that's a great opportunity to go out into the neighborhood. But you can walk to the service department on any given day in the morning and see people sitting in the waiting area. Ask them those questions. Hey, what was your first car? What's your dream car? Where are you going to take your next road trip? Where was your best road trip, or where's your dream road trip? These are great content questions. These are also questions you can ask your employees, just FYI. That's my favorite one to ask employees, especially techs, asking them what their dream car is, asking them what their favorite car is. Also ask the techs what their least favorite car is, because they're not shy about that. Hopefully it's not your car that you're making. 20% is about the products and services of your company. So that's the vehicles themselves, detailed car reviews. Right now, Toyota is in having a new Camry that's coming out. A couple of stores have them, not everybody does. It's a fully hybrid Camry, but they're just labeling it Camry. So what I have actually recommended for my Toyota stores is have the old 2024, because most of them still have one of those hanging around, put the new one next to it and point out the differences. Just do a short video. Hey, here's the changes. Hybrid, that's a big one. That's an obvious one. But there's obviously refinements on it. There's finishes. It's a complete remodel. So that's a great opportunity to highlight the why buy on that car. And again, for your service department, because I don't want to leave out fixed ops. They're like the redheaded stepchild for a lot of different dealerships. But go in and talking to the techs about what are the things that I can do for my car to keep my car running? How do I know when my tread's too low? How do I know when other than that noise my brakes make, how can I tell when my brakes are low and I need them changed? Those are the kinds of things you can actually get involved with, making sure the customers understand what you do and when they should bring you into the mix. Content about your community. So other than Arizona, I actually reached out to people in these states and I asked these questions. So in Arizona, 9 months out of the year, you want to live there. The other 3 months, if you owned a place in hell in Arizona, you'd probably want to live in hell because it's less hot than it is in Arizona in August. For California, we have beaches and you don't. Actually, my sister said this and she's just, yeah. Roswell, New Mexico, which is where this guy lives. Every business embraces the weird there. Every one of them have stand-ups, mannequins, whatever, aliens everywhere. They embrace it, including the dealerships. The major dealership out there is Kremlin Auto Group, and his logo is an alien with the name of the dealership around it. Alien or UFO, depending on the dealership. What was that? Roswell, New Mexico. Yep. It's a very unique place. New York, why would you want to live anywhere else? And we can all say that in a New York accident, and I'm sure accident and hear that. For Texas, that one I found really funny. The official state beverages, Dr. Pepper and sweet tea, have both and call it a balanced diet. That was a new one for me. Florida, yes, having an alligator in your pool is normal. So what makes your community unique? What makes your community different? There is something. Even if you think there isn't, there is something. And that's where you get from the employee stories, from talking to the customers. You get those different stories that you can actually engage them with and what makes your community unique. And then content for fun. So this goes back to my obscure holidays. Just Google it. Hey, what's next week's, not today's, what's next week's obscure holiday? And you can actually create content specifically around that. There's Dress Like Batman Day that's coming up. That should be fantastic fun. Anybody who comes into the dealership dressed like Batman, I would actually give them a free oil change if they're brave enough to do that. A day in the life. So one of the videos I had for a store in Chandler in Arizona, they actually had the general manager put his phone on his chest and time-lapsed him going around a day in the life of the general manager, a day in the life of a service advisor, things like that. A time-lapse camera on a bay in the service drive, that gets a ton of traction, especially if it's one that's on the quick lube, the oil change, things like that, that gets a ton of traction. And the blooper reels. Don't be afraid to post the blooper reels. The same guy, Valley High Toyota, the spring training video he actually posted the blooper reel video, and that got more engagement than the video he made without those bloopers. And memes. Everybody loves memes. Everybody, knows that there's a meme generator. There's a free one. And by the way, that's the other thing. All the tools I listed are free because I'm a fan of if I can get it for free, I'm not going to pay for it. Especially if you don't have a budget in the social media. Okay, so now we got some organization around here. We learned a little bit. We made some decisions. So now we're going to go into create mode. So we're going to look into some of these hashtags to figure out which ones speak to us. There's your ASMR, your OEM, so hashtag Ford, hashtag Nissan, hashtag Camry. You can use the models and the makes. Cars of Instagram, Instacars, cars of TikTok. Utilize these because, like you, other people are searching for these hashtags and you want them to see and engage with your content. So for Instagram and TikTok, going live, it's scary. I get it. It's totally scary, but do it. Be scared and do it anyway. The reason being is because there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be scrolling past. The go lives on these two are put up priority because those are where your bread and butter are. So if you can go live, you can get some more engagement, some like and follows. You're going live and you're having people passing by you and they can like and maybe they can comment. That's going to help that algorithm and you're going to come up again and again. So going live is absolutely, I would highly recommend. Everybody's terrified of it, but I would absolutely highly recommend it. So embracing the trends and challenges, but also we've heard it a couple of times today, being your authentic true self. Those kinds of things actually are what increase the followers to look more, follow more. You get the notifications, hey, this person posted a new video. That's what you want people to see about what your content is. And don't forget about fixed stops. Are always the redheaded stepchild. What is this? Who's at a dealer? Is anybody in a dealership in here? I know you're in a dealership. The slowest day in most dealerships is what? Tuesday, Wednesday? That's the slowest day in the service drive. Make it a ladies' day. Find a nail salon that's local around there. Offer a manicure a couple $100. Again, you're gonna have to beg your GM for it, but I'll tell you why it's gonna be worth it. You put a piece of paper on the cashier's desk and you sign people up for mini manicures. You have 3 hours during lunch that it's ladies' day. Ladies come in and get 10% off of their service and they get a free mini manicure. I've had half a dozen dealerships do this, and Tuesday is now their busiest day. So it absolutely will drive the retention. And then those customers, what do? The customers in service, they come back and buy a car. Well, hopefully we treated them right and didn't wait 4 hours for an oil change, but yeah. You can do seniors days. You can do, that one was actually interesting in trying to come up with something that people would agree with, because everyone had different ideas of what seniors would be liking to have in there. Financial advice was the highest one that I found when I polled everyone, is pull someone like H&R Block in, or pull in a financial institution, a local credit union, on giving people financial advice and how investments and stuff like that. Then City Employees Day, that's another one that's really overlooked. The employees that work in the town that you have the dealership in, absolutely have them come in and have, again, a benefits workshop, offer to host any kind of events they have in the dealership. We've got the room, right? We've got those big conference rooms. And every day should be First Responders Day. Absolutely. So now we got to measure. We did all this stuff. We created, we organized, we measured, we did all that. Now we have to measure, sorry. So the ones that are measuring the most success for you, we all understand that, right? It's likes, it's shares, it's comments, things like that. But really, the ones that reflect the awareness and reach that get overlooked are the hashtags, are the views. Those kinds of things, they're like a soft conversion almost. They get overlooked, but they actually are vitally important to measuring the amount of engagement you're getting with your social media. Hello. That's going to jump like 4. I know. Okay, so for the different platforms, all have their different analytics reportings. And what is this data trying to tell us? Like, how long should we make our videos if we're just relying on this data? It's hard to read, sorry. Under 2 minutes. That's how long the average duration that people are viewing my content. That should be as long as I make my content. So, and this had check marks on it, I apologize, it didn't come up. The number one device that people are viewing the content on in this report is mobile. So we have to make sure everything fits in a mobile format. Usually that's not a problem now. So when we get into TikTok reporting, you're going into the view analytics, you're looking at comments, shares, likes. This is a dealership account if you can't tell. We're looking at comments, shares, and likes. But can anybody tell me what the number one attribution is to ensure the highest level of engagement on your video? They watch the full video. There's a reason influencers say, hey, watch my full video. There's a reason they say that. And I have a trick for you to do this. Who watches Marvel movies? Does anybody here go to Marvel movies? Who here stays till after the credits and the wait staffer at the thing, like, get out, we have to clean the theater. And you're like, no, but there's gonna be a thing. And then, yeah, put an Easter egg in your content at the very end and talk about it. That way you get people to go to the end of the video. Instead of saying, watch my full video, just put an Easter egg at the end. And that gets people to sit around and wait for the end. Or else we would never sit in Marvel movies till 10 minutes after the movie ended waiting for the Easter egg, right? So meta reporting, we have on the content, we're looking at our analysis of who's watching our content. That would be 96% women. In the post reach, this one got to 185 people. So that's going to be the one I boost, because that got to the most people. That was the most engaging. That was the most viral, whatever you want to call it, format. I'm going to boost that one. And you don't have to spend a lot of money to boost. You could spend 25 bucks, 50 bucks at the most. I wouldn't spend more than that. And test it out. This is all about test, and pivot. Comments, shares, link clicks. Of course, we all know those. Those are all good engagement points. So the whole key here is we're looking for follower growth, impression growth. We're looking for story metrics, our top posts, and utilizing those audience insights to make those better decisions. And then we pivot. Digital marketing is nothing if not learning the incredible art of the pivot. I think everybody here would agree to that. So now we're going to refresh. Now we learned a bunch of stuff, right? We measured, we saw our results. Now we're going to refresh. So I'll give you a key about, we talked a little bit about evergreen versus targeted. That's the incentives and things like that. But educate versus entertain. So the jury's kind of out on this. I had a lot of people says, well, can you really do both? You can't really make it funny if you're talking about educational stuff. I call BS all day on that. You can absolutely make educational and funny stuff, for sure. And don't be afraid to educate in reverse, if that makes sense. Valley High Toyota has a really good, the marketing director, Brian, actually put himself out there, called every vehicle by the wrong name, called everything in the vehicle. He called the sunglass holder. He called it a taco holder. I swear to God. Hashtag taco holder. Look that up now. So don't be afraid to take those chances. So, and don't be discouraged if your content does not go viral. I think she said I have. So this video was done by a friend of mine in Yuma, Arizona, and Yuma, Arizona was unincorporated for a long time, so the potholes are legendary. They will swallow your car. So they made a whole presentation around potholes. I don't know if I have time to play it. Whole presentation around potholes, and it's super funny. I encourage you to go look at it on YouTube. It only has 100 views, and probably 30 of them are me. So don't be discouraged if it doesn't go viral. It's very possible that it won't go viral, and that's absolutely okay. Maybe I'll have time. I don't know. Oh, you can't hear it. Oh, you can't hear it. So he posts him going through, and they're running around the dealership yelling and the terrible potholes. Sorry, you can't hear it. Anyway, go look that up. I strongly encourage you. He talks about, hey, they still had some tread left. It's a good thing it's Snorri Nissan. We actually sell tires, things like that. So those kinds of things that it was awesome. The concept was great. It didn't go anywhere. Don't get discouraged by that because you have to pivot and you have to be consistent. You have to keep posting. And I think the best analogy I had was post with no brakes. So keep your foot on the gas pedal, be consistent, and keep posting. Because you never know when that viral moment's going to come. It may come on something you didn't even think it was. I didn't even know. And if you had a chance to go to Robin's meeting and get one of these, and if you didn't, ask Robin. She's right there. She will mail you one. This should be a Bible for anybody looking for content ideas right out of the gate. It is absolutely a treasure trove of little ideas that you can create big content from. So I'm going to talk about trolls for a minute because I know everybody loves trolls. You have to reply to all your comments. Yes, all of your comments, even the trolls. Don't be afraid of the trolls. It is not personal. If you can turn it into a funny piece of content, absolutely create a post about it. So I'm going to share a couple of stories with you about people who, come on if I can get this to, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I got Gen Xers in here. You guys know who Peyton Manning is, right? Peyton Manning got drafted. He turned down the first 3 teams that drafted him to be a quarterback. Did you guys know that? Turned them all down. San Diego Chargers, New England Patriots, Cleveland Browns, turned them all down flat. He could have ran away with it. He could have ran away from the whole thing, hid from the limelight. He got a ton of negative vitriol online about it, ton of it. You're arrogant, you're turning down your golden ticket, all this stuff. He actually went to Amex and they made a commercial about it. I wish my sound worked. I encourage you to go look at it, Peyton Manning Amex. He made a commercial about it where he's basically like walking around and all the people in these different cities are like, you're going down. He's like, yeah, I am. I'm going down to the 4th floor, going to get a massage today. And then in San Diego, the lady's in the next room cleaning up the room and he goes, it's a nice day. And she's like, take a hike. And he goes, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go down. The weather here is sweet. Like he's totally making fun of himself. And everybody just forgot about that whole little incident of him not picking the first 3 teams that he had. So those kind of moments are where you can turn negative into positives. American Red Cross, this employee, after going out drinking with her friends, posted that she was getting slizzard tonight with her friend. American Red Cross could have fired her, could have publicly, whatever done, damage that they wanted to do to her. They did not. They said, we encourage our employees to drink responsibly. We encourage our employees to have a personal life. Was very supportive of the whole thing. And this beer company got a ton of content ideas and actually encouraged people to donate to the Red Cross. So it actually worked out around for everybody. Taco Bell, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember this. They got sued for having not real beef in their 89%, whatever, 99%, whatever it was, real beef in the whole campaign. So they did a full campaign. Hey, thank you for suing us. Thank you for pointing that out. And as a result of that, this was the result of that. 91% of their 5.5 million followers just on Facebook actually posted reviews about the quality taste of their food. So don't be afraid to take your bad press and flip it because those are big stories. I have tons of other little stories, but those are the big stories. It can work for you. First thing, when you have your trolls that come up, it's not personal. Take a step back, share it with a GM, share it with someone else. Okay, how would you respond? This is how I'm thinking of responding. You want to address it. You need to determine whether you need to address it publicly or privately. You can apologize if necessary. You can offer solutions if that's possible, and keep moving forward with it. If you can make a positive post about it, absolutely make a positive post about it. But don't get into arguments with them. You'll lose. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I love him.
So he takes, extreme athletes, controversial, but he takes all the negative comments,
Mhm.
he reads them into a tape recorder
Mhm.
or whatever, into his phone, and then he actually plays it on the stereo system.
He's amazing.
I use that kind of energy because I know that these people are just, they're not doing anything. I am. So I take it
Yeah.
and listen to it.
David Goggins, if you don't know him, I highly recommend following him. Yeah, he's a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, Air Force elite fleet. He does like ultra marathons. He's done like 75 ultra marathons. He's an amazing human being. So yeah, I definitely recommend him. Okay, so I have some trivia. Heather's going to help me moderate and call out my winners. Your name is your buzzer, so it's trivia for my presentation. So if you know the answer, just call out your name and Heather's going to help me moderate. All right. Question number 1. Who gave the Plano company the idea to develop Makeup Organizer? Oh, got in the back. Vanna. Fabulous prize, please. Oh, crap. Okay. One way I can measure success in my social media organic content strategy. That's fine. Go ahead. Right there. Number 3. Where can I tell what kind of device people are using to watch our content? On any analytics dashboard. Any analytics dashboard. Oh, Lisa. So awesome. What's the best indicator of successful engagement on TikTok? Watch the full video. There's another one. Where's on the Facebook business app can I find out how different pieces of my content performed? On the analytics dashboard. On the analytics dashboard. All right. How many sections are in a standard caboodle? What number is this question? I have a bonus question. This is a hard one. I'm not going to give it to you. How many times is the word pivot in my presentation? How many sections are in a standard caboodle? There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vanna. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.